everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Sonographers in the Cities. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Giselle.
If you're new here, welcome. I don't know about you, Giselle, but I've been getting a lot of messages regarding our Q&A episodes, and this is why I'm tired. I just think that it's such a good topic.
Questions.
No,
yes.
I meant
I see what you're saying.
Topics,
great topics of discussion.
Yes.
Yes, that is what,
yes. And so this episode, we're just going to try to continue to hopefully finish all the questions because we got a lot of them. So we're not going to do like 2 questions or 3 questions. We're just going to
hit them straight in the head.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm counting right now. We have about 13 questions left on our Q&A. Obviously, you guys can keep on sending us questions, but we feel like we want to get to everyone's questions, and we should just kind of get through them because this is now the 7th episode of questions.
Because there's always like a lot for us to talk about, and we always touch upon topics that we have previously talked about. So whatever we talked about here, not in details, we'll always bring back in future episodes for more detail.
Yeah, we're going to center a lot of our future episodes, obviously like before, with like certain topics and just talk about random things. So we felt like the Q&As would be great to just have like relaxed episodes, and we've had plenty, and we definitely enjoyed doing them. So thank you guys for sending all these questions.
Yes, thank you. And even if we're not asking for questions, please feel free to send us questions, and we always compile them and create episodes because this podcast is for you.
Yes, you guys. So thank you so much. We do really I'm just so thankful for you guys because we just reached 5,500 downloads, and we haven't even been doing this for that long. And so it's been really cool, like just to see.
Yes, we haven't. How many months has it been?
Since October. So
6 months?
Yeah.
Half
a year. Yeah, it's crazy. And obviously we're growing with you, Lynn, and we're growing with everybody together.
And with you.
Yes, and seeing just how much can progress and change in 6 months. It's pretty insane. And yeah, we really do want more people on this podcast. So if you guys want to be on and talk about your experience, either being a sonographer or sonography student, any other field as well, we do want you guys to come on here and talk. So definitely reach out and still fill that form out that we have under our bios so you can come and join us.
Yes, and if you're in different cities or countries, you're also welcome to, because we are sonographers in the cities. So we're not limited to just the US.
Yes, I actually saw that we were in like 5 different countries, or I don't know. I was looking at the stats.
Yeah, we're more in more than 5 different countries.
Yeah, okay. And it said like over 150 cities or something. I was just looking at the stats, and I was like,
I'm just looking at the continents because there's so many cities.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. And today we're going to go through all these questions.
Yes. Let's get started.
So the first one, I'm just going in the order that we have them on our list. There's no specific
Which is the orders that was sent in.
Yeah, no specific order. So first question, do you ever feel awkward around your classmates for doing social media? Do you?
I don't feel, actually, it's awkward because I'm kind of an awkward person in real life. Just kidding. But my classmates know that I have a page, and they think that they're like, oh, that's so cool. It's really cute, and my school knows. They obviously follow me, and they're really supportive of my page, and I'm really appreciative of them. And no, I don't feel awkward. The only awkward times, to be honest, would be me not knowing who have followed me, because there are so many of you, and they would have to come up and introduce them. Hi, I'm this, and it's like, I know you from Instagram, DMS Diaries, and it's awkward because I've responded and I can't really match your face to the name, because obviously Instagram handles is not the full name, and the images on there is not, it's tiny. So that's the only awkward thing. But then I was like, then once they introduced themselves, and I was like, oh, hi, nice to finally meet you, and all that stuff. It's just,
so it's like you don't feel awkward. Yeah, you don't feel awkward in general. No. But just like, it is actually hard. I feel bad sometimes, because if you're not constantly talking to me all the time, I mean, I talk to so many people. I'm sure you talk to so many people too. So unless you're like someone who constantly or consistently messages me, it's definitely hard to put a name to the face or a face to the handle, like you said.
Yes. So please be patient with us, and I'm sure Giselle too.
Well, actually, the interesting thing is a lot of people who talk to me constantly or consistently, like I know who they are. Like we're great friends just because we talk all the time, which is cool. That's how you make friends.
Yes, that is. And it's amazing how social media is such a great way for you to connect and for you to network. And it can be awkward, but just make it less awkward.
Yeah, do something. If you're doing something you like to do or you love, like it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, honestly.
And if like for any of you who wants to do a page, and don't feel awkward about doing it, you, like Giselle said, if you want to do it, go for it.
Yeah. I've actually had some people who messaged me too, saying they didn't want to like step on my toes. And I was like, you're not stepping on my toes. Like there's so many pages out there. It's totally fine. Like make a YouTube channel. I support you,
If anything, it shows that we have something in common.
Yeah. And we can definitely work together and help each other. And that's what this community is about. So definitely don't be afraid. Don't feel awkward. Next question. How to persevere through the rough patches?
Just how you can go. I started the other one.
Well, honestly, push through, right? It's easier said than done. Like when there are rough patches, and I'll tell you, I have a lot of them, literally, probably almost every other day, and I'm in the field already. So I can only imagine as a student or someone who's trying to figure out what they're trying to do with the rest of their life, there's going to be a lot of rough patches. But just kind of take the time to just recollect your thoughts and recollect your mind. Give yourself 30 minutes of just thinking about nothing, because we live in such a world and society where you're go, 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 go. And I don't even there's so many hours in the day, but I still feel so heavily busy and stressed out. So when you do get those rough patches, just take a minute. Like last night, I took a long 2-hour bubble bath and binge watch Netflix, and that gave me a sense of like, okay, just chill, but for you, if you're in a rough patch, I feel like just give yourself a moment in time to just think even think about nothing, and then figure out how you can attack the rough patch and get through it, because honestly, you have to get through the rough patches to get where you're going at the end of the day.
That's a very good answer. What I have to say, it immediately I thought of our episode. Was it the first episode of this year? We did a check-in mental health episode 13, I believe. That number might be wrong.
No, I think it is.
But if you haven't checked it out, It's an episode where we encourage you and us to check in with ourselves if we ever feel overwhelmed, tired, burned, on the verge of burned out. And I like that we do this on this podcast, because sometimes we forget, our lives get ahead of us. Like Giselle was super busy. I'm also super busy, and we're often tired. I think we should do one episode soon just to check in. That should be a good one.
That is.
But yes, so like Giselle said, just take it one day at a time, allow yourself that time to decompress and do nothing, and then, pick yourself up and think what the best next step for you would be.
Great advice. Next question. How long did it take you to study for the SPI? Any tips on what areas to focus on? since you passed it recently, how long did it take you to study?
My answer, I started studying the first day of lecture for class.
Wow.
Because honestly, like when you learn, that's when you're studying too. So I don't consider studying as in like this,
Yeah, like
like
you
say sit down and
period of time.
studying, because to me it doesn't help me retain information. So I have to study like in a short amount of time, but more often, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So but in the traditional sense of studying, I studied the week before my exam, probably 8 hours max.
Okay. Yeah, see, and that's the thing is you took your SPI
I took my
while you're in
SPI
clinical
while I would no while
or
I was
was
in
it
class.
while you're in class before
Yes.
clinicals?
So I was in my SBI class is broken into two parts. So SBI 1 and SBI 2. And after SBI 2, I can take my test, but I was able to take it a little bit before I finished because I was confident that I know enough materials.
There you go.
And so I did. And obviously I was very impatient.
You're like, I'm just gonna get this over with.
Yes, because during that time, like everyone's stressed out and I didn't want to be even more stressed out. I just want to get it over with.
Yeah,
And I
and you
know
felt ready.
And I know myself enough that I feel if I'm getting more stress from other people, it's not healthy for me.
Right. There
So,
you go. Since you
yeah.
took it recently, what tips or areas would you focus on now that you just
We can't say what topics, right?
You can't really, I mean, you can. I mean, they give you the whole, if you can go on to ardms.org, it gives you a list of what you can expect on your exam. So, I mean, for example,
and the percentage of like
Yes.
certain topics. So we can talk about that. I would say, the most is Doppler. It's like
Doppler.
35%. Definitely is on it. It's confusing, but sorry, my upstairs neighbor is rolling his chair.
I heard them rolling up in there. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Doppler, I think, is one of the big things. And if you guys don't know, the skilled sonographer, she has a little Doppler course, and then also Jasmilo notes. Yeah, it's actually I'll say Jasmilo just for like how you spell it. But I'm pretty sure it's just Jasmio. I don't know. You can go to her page. She does notes as well, and you can go there. Also, the ultrasound techniques Instagram. She's got a lot of tips for.
She has a book.
Oh, yep.
She was on our podcast.
Yep,
so
she
you can
was.
check that out. The episode. I don't remember the number.
Let me look. Yes, you can look at. Oh wow, there's a lot of SPI. Well, we talked about SPI
With Rachel.
We talked about with Rachel. Yes.
Molly.
With Molly and ultrasound techniques book on episode 16. So if you go back to our old episodes, yes, we got a ton of those.
And then we talked to Molly, who is Sono Nerds on YouTube. Yes. She is a great resource. So basically all of these that I'll just mentioned are great resources for you to study for your SPI.
So definitely go check those out. We do, SPI obviously is one of the biggest topics, and just know that it doesn't matter, how long anyone else studies. It's how much time do you need to give yourself? Because Lynn, like she said, she studied for ever since she took her class, because you can take the exam after you take your physics class. For me, it took me 3 tries. So honestly, everyone's different, and just kind of figure out how your study method is and go from there. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I don't like these questions because especially when they ask for interviews and you're just like, I don't know.
You're like,
I don't even know what I want to do next year.
Yeah, I mean, well, how old will you be in 5 years?
Oh God, how old am I this year?
I'm like,
I'm in my 30s.
Yeah, I'll probably be 33.
We're the same age. Yeah. So yeah. 29. No, we're 29 this year.
We're gonna turn 29.
Yeah.
34?
34.
Shoot.
Where do I see myself? I see myself Professionally,
Yeah, professionally.
as a cardiac sonographer, vascular technologist, definitely. Maybe as a lead tech.
Oh, there you go. I can see that.
I'm quite ambitious when it comes to work, so I strive for that. Like I get bored easily, so I think a lead tech at that time frame would be a good goal for me. Like by doing that, it will allow me to be the best sonographer that I can be every single day. Like it's a internal challenge.
Right. It's going to keep you busy for sure.
Yes. I just don't know where I will be.
Yeah. Hopefully in that position.
Yes. What about you, Giselle?
Well, in 5 years, I'll be doing this for 10 years. So in 5 years, that'll be 10 years of me being a sonographer, which is crazy to think about. But I see a lot of my coworkers who are on their 10 years and I can see that they want more for themselves, so I'm assuming that in 5 years, obviously I'll hopefully have my master's and potentially have more leadership roles and things like that.
Lab director.
Who knows, maybe, because I do want to teach and be in the lab setting. That's where I want to be.
So program director.
We'll see. I don't know about program director, but that I would love to be a program director one day.
I can see that.
Yeah, I think that would be so much fun.
Good at that.
Well, thank you. And I want to have a desk, like I want to have a desk. I want to file papers. Like it's actually something that I would want to see myself doing. So perhaps. I know my supervisor wants me to think about being a director of radiology. I don't know about that much because you'd have to run other departments like nuclear medicine, CAT scan, X-ray, things like that as a director in radiology. But that is also a possibility. But I don't think I would want to do that at my 10 years, maybe like 15 or 20, which seems so far down the line.
Yes.
But you know
what's like really great with this question is like I finally realized like how many possibilities we have in like our very short in the next or future, like for me it's like I'm only like, oh, maybe I'm sonographer and then become a lead tech. But then when you say it, it's like, okay, so there's more possibilities for me and future students out there.
Yeah.
So that's like that's really cool.
Yeah, there's so much out there. Just a thought that don't set yourself short, right? And think about there is still a lot. People don't think there's opportunity in ultrasound. It just kind of goes so far as if you have a associates versus a bachelor's, right? Because you might need to go back to school for the bachelor's, or you might need to go back to school for the master's. But either way, there's so much opportunity out there for you. Next question. How to grow an ultrasound, like as in having your own business or clinic. So that's a little bit different. Having a business, having a clinic, those things are a little bit different than what we're talking about, which is like, putting yourself out there and having the drive to actually take money from what you've earned as a sonographer and put it into a business. So that's different than moving up for a company, right? So
I think that takes like guts because you have to have this entrepreneur mindset of how you can do more with what you already know.
Yeah.
And
there's actually go ahead.
No. I'm just saying that's actually really, really good. And I've seen like, I think I follow a couple of ultrasound small businesses that that's run by sonographers. And I think that they're really successful. And I think it's an up and coming aspect of sonography.
Right. Yeah, because if you think about it, when you have your own business or a clinic, a lot of the times they're ran by doctors. So, and to have sonography, you typically have to have a doctor interpreting your exams. So unless you kind of figure out who's going to read your exams, like radiologists, and I worked for someone who had a small business, so I've seen that side of it. You do have to figure out your pricing and you have to figure out where you're going to have the company. Are you going to be mobile or are you going to sign up, and have a contract with a doctor? So if for this specific question, like how to grow an ultrasound as in having your own business, you're going to have to do a lot of research and you're
Yes.
going to have to see what city you're working in and all that stuff.
Yes.
It's a lot.
And it's out of our expertise. We would love to have someone who has their own business come on here and give you guys some insight, which is also the plan for this year, maybe next year. But it is a good idea. It's a good, I just thought of BB imaging. That's also, it was founded by a sonographer, at least one sonographer. So
yeah, so definitely
really
reach
cool.
out if you're someone that's already that far. But of course, I feel like people who are asking this is like, oh, how can we do that? So we'll definitely have someone for you to come on here and talk about that.
Yes.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot to have a business. So that'll be a whole nother topic in itself.
Yes.
So next question. What are the pros and cons that you have noticed about the job as a student for you and then as a sonographer for me? So pros and cons that you've noticed?
As a student, since I was in clinicals, the pros is that you are the first professional that a medical providers would go to in their step of diagnosing their patients. So ultrasound is the first step. So that means like you're making a difference. You're the eyes of those providers to see what is causing this patient the symptoms. So you are making a difference. Just even though it's very little, it's a big thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying an oxymoron here. But it's just like for that one simple exam, you're seeing so much throughout the body. And it's just, and the besides that pro of like the patient's aspect, for me, it's just like you get to see how everybody is so different, and you get to see like, and yet the same. They're different, but yet the same. So it's just like really fascinating. The cons of it, it has nothing to do with sonography. I think it's mostly of working environments, like who you work with, how's the team, how's management, what setting you're working with, like private practice, inpatient, hospital. I think those are the external factors of the cons of the profession. So you have to like find where you want to work. That's not, I think we discussed this last time, but
the workplace environment. I agree. Because like cons as this field, like it is, like we say, every field has cons to it. Not any field is perfect. But having a lot of, it's a lot to have all this information in your brain, and it's a lot to, you can kind of like doubt yourself a lot of times. I think, I forget who I listened to or who said this, but someone said like the battle that we have as sonographers is that we are very much so wanting to be perfect, but we can't be perfect, so you want to have the best image, but like you're not always going to have the best image, and we fight with ourselves internally because of that. Like we want the best image, we're taught to have the best image, but then when you get your patient, it's hard to have the best image a lot of the time. So you're fighting internally. I think that's one of the hardest parts. But we definitely love our job. Pros, like there's so many pros, so many things. For every con, there is a pro. So definitely just know that there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons. And I do have a video stating all of those on my channel. So, and then the last question that we're going to go over today is, someone said, I was told CAAHEP is not a big thing if you're applying to DMS. I know it is. So they're kind of questioning about CAAHEP.
So basically about accreditation, and we had an episode about accreditation on this. It's one of our earlier episodes. If you haven't checked it out, We broke down CAAHEP, AART, and CCI, I believe. Oh my gosh, so long ago.
Yes, accreditations.
But yes, CAAHEP is a big organization that accredits a lot of allied health professions. However, it is not the only option. You don't have to go towards the track that everyone is going just because everyone is going. You have to find a track that works for you, the accreditation or the schools that works for you. I previously had a follower or someone DM me about certain programs with different accreditations because she feels like it's not CAAHEP accredited. And she feels that pressure. And I'm like, this is like unnecessary pressure for you because you want to find the program that is right for you,
Yeah, and it all goes to at the end of the day, what requirements do you have and what do you need to take A or DMS? Because some people don't need to go to a CAAHEP school because they already have prior bachelor's degrees, and some people have certain things. So if you have question about a school, please reach out to us and your information and let us know. I can also direct you to our Discord group because a lot of people in there, while we all want to go to CAAHEP school, sometimes it's not the best case scenario for some people. So definitely just reach out and get your specific question answered because CAAHEP is a lot. It's a lot in that conversation, accredited versus non-accredited. I did not go to an accredited CAAHEP school, and I'm a sonographer, and that's why it confuses people. But like I said, you have to do more research and let us know about your specific situation, and we'll help you guys with that. So
yes,
reach out. But yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys. This episode went by really quick because we did talk
so
a lot.
quickly.
We did answer a good chunk of these questions because we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions left. Technically 7, but I separated one so that we can have a whole conversation about it. How to decide between specialties. And I think that would be a great topic in itself. So
stay tuned for that episode. And I feel like we could definitely talk more with each of these questions.
Yeah,
just because we can talk so much.
So definitely just keep on listening to our podcast. A lot of these things we answer in just our conversations. We've got a lot of videos out there and posts on our Instagrams and stuff like that. So reach out to us and we can give you specifics and where to find them and find your answers. And just know we're here for you guys.
Yes, we are. And like I said earlier, this episode, we're doing this for you. This podcast is meant to be a chill, relaxed resource where you can just take us on your daily journey or daily routine. And hopefully you gain some information out of at least one of these episodes. So Thank you so much. We wouldn't be here without you guys.
Yes, thank you guys. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
See you next week.